Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, today I'm going to talk about actual safety tips for surviving homelessness today. And uh, one of the worst scenarios that you can be caught in is actually in your shelter and asleep, or being woken up by something, a feeling that you get, because that's what happened to me several times living out here. And a lot of folks, a lot of you know that um, I have a license and I have several guns, uh, and then I also carry OC spray right here all the time. I always have that. Then I have my mixed martial arts. But then there's times when uh, you may be um, a person, like a lot of the women that were in my encampment. They didn't have weapons, and so we had to improvise weapons and safety equipment for them. And um, some of the tools that we use were very simple and basic. And the perpetrator, the bad person, uh, we could easily see. And one of the tools that I always encourage the ladies to have, plus it's a tool that we all really need, and that's a fire extinguisher. And you see fire extinguishers charged up. It's in the green area. That means inside of here, this is a small fire extinguisher. I keep this next to my bed for fires, number one. And then number two, if somebody comes in, this now becomes a weapon. And this is a double-edged weapon, believe it or not. Because number one, you have output, the fire extinguisher dust from the nozzle, and also it comes out at a pressure of 190 psi, which is how much nitrogen pressure is inside of this particular fire extinguisher. Uh, this isn't my favorite type of fire extinguisher because it only has the one nozzle. I like the ones where there's a hose attached, such as this one. This is a 5-pound fire extinguisher, and so you can see it's charged up 190 psi, and this is 5 pounds. Reason why I like this, number one, well, you have your safety, which is your pull pin. Just before you use it, you gotta yank that pin off of there, breaking the seal, and then also activating the handle. And what's nice about this is that you have an option. Holding the fire extinguisher like this, it's more like a gun. But then here's the thing: perpetrators, the bad guys, only see this end as the danger. They don't see the nozzle, you spraying them down, as a danger, because they've never been hit by one before. Because if they've been hit by one, they would see this come out, a fire extinguisher come out, they back away, because if they've been sprayed before, they know this is not a pleasant experience. And so anyway, now this becomes a double-edged weapon for, number one, spraying. And I love this one. If you can get within 3 feet of your perpetrator, you want to spray, aim for the eyes, nose, and mouth, especially the mouth. I got a 19-year-old who was a real smartass who threatened, to kill me. He literally, this was way back in 2017, when uh, just before I got the city sanctioning, and um, he he was bringing people in onto the street and said he's going to move them into my unit and a new unit I had next door. And I told him that's just not going to happen. And he'd been smarting off to me for a couple days, and several of my friends said, "What's up with him?" I don't know. And so anyway, it came down where he made the final threat. And so I showed him my gun, which was tucked underneath my jacket. And I said, don't even try it, youngster, because I'll have you carted out of here in a box and if you try and do anything. And he just looked at me very seriously and said, you ain't got enough bullets in that to hurt me. And I said, well, here's my first thought. I said, well, obviously his mommy and daddy never put the fear of God in him. And so somebody needs to put the fear of God in him, and that person's going to be me. And so I just turned around and said, okay, we'll see about this in a minute. So I went inside. I got my fire extinguisher, pulled the key, went right back outside, walked up to the person within 5 feet. I was within 5 feet of him and just pointed this right up, just like that. So he's looking at all of this as what I'm going to be hitting him with. He didn't expect the nozzle and me pulling the trigger at 3 feet away. He said, don't you get any closer. And then that's when I just let him have it right in the face, all 190 PSI. It blew him 6 feet, literally. He left his feet and the pressure knocked him 6 feet back. And once I had mostly emptied this, now this becomes a flailing weapon. This is why I like this style with a hose versus this. This is just a great big rock. Because you're limited on what you can do. You can punch, jab, stab with this. Those are your limits. Or you throw it like a rock. This one, on the other hand, becomes a flailing weapon, because what happens, you take the hose out of here and you hold it by the hose itself, and now you start swinging this. Remember, this may be heavy at the beginning, but now that you've emptied it of the nitrogen pressure and the 5 pounds of fire extinguisher dust, this is still heavy. This is still heavy. It's still about 3 pounds. But as a flailing weapon, it gives you distance. It gives you distance for safety. Also, if that perpetrator is still trying to attack you, you take this and you smash them up against the head. Go for the face. And if you can't get the face, hit them center mass in the chest with this end. Believe me, when he gets hit with that, his eye's going to bug out and he's just going to fall down flat, because you may have stopped his heart if you hit him hard enough with the blunt end here, center mass on his sternum. Or at the very least, you've just emptied his lungs out with that blow. And that's with the jab. If you're flailing this, you can break bones, you can break ribs, you can break arms, you can break legs. This is why I like using this. And once you've gained the upper hand, you just discard this and finish up your work. And then everything's done. I sent that 19-year-old smartass to the emergency room. He needed nearly 20 stitches to close his head up once I finished with him. He came back, he made a threat, and then I ended up pulling my gun on him, and I never saw him again. So I guess he just needed a hard lesson, because everybody in the camp was telling him, you best go. It's Derrick not playing. And you could be leaving here in a box. So anyway, nothing happened. Kid, smart ass, he left. The people that he dragged in, claiming that he's going to house them in my tent, my shelter back then, they said, well, I guess we're going to go, because we're not getting any housing here. And I said, that's right, you're not. We're all full here. and little smarty pants there, he only thing he's going to be getting is stitches. So everybody left, and that's one of the things. At the very least, folks, this is a lifesaver. You can get these small ones for about $30 on Amazon and in most auto parts stores, hardware stores. You really need to have these. Even if you're not homeless, if you're at home, you're a single female or a single male, even these days. These are worth every penny. Yes, they're going to make a mess, but I much rather have the house a mess and alive rather than not have something like this, or the ability to fight back and be dead. So these are about $30. Larger ones like this, these are about $70. But if you're like me, I have a contact where I get these for the homeless for free, and uh, they're they're essentially throwaways by this company because they can't sell them, because either there's some sort of defect, a clouded gauge, or something that makes it unsellable, and so they give all of those fire extinguishers which have been recharged. They set them aside for the homeless, and they're distributed throughout the homeless community. If you can check with some of your companies where you are and see if any of them have a program like that. Here in Oakland, our local person who does this is in San Leandro, and all we have to do is send a person with a vehicle and a box to usually get at least 30 fire extinguishers, and then we distribute them to folks, and especially the ladies. I'm going to also post an old video here that I made a number of years ago, and it shows, demonstrates the effectiveness and the range of a fire extinguisher, because I actually held classes back in, I think it was 2017, on this, and got the ladies experience with firing a fire extinguisher and hitting a target. And so I'm going to show you that video. It'll be in the comments, so look for that. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully that will help you stay alive and survive on the streets if you become homeless. And also, it's a safety tool in the event of a fire. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back.